Weak men deserve no respect. The world has no place for hesitation, excuses, or dependency. A man who bends under pressure will never be remembered, never be feared, never be followed. Respect is not given. It is seized, earned, and held only by the strong. To understand why weakness is despised and strength is worshipped, we must first face the weight of weakness itself. Weakness wears many faces. It is hesitation when action is needed. It is silence when words must be spoken. It is a dependence when a man should stand alone. The weak believe their softness will win them sympathy. They think kindness will buy them respect. But the truth is harsher. Weakness does not inspire admiration. It invites contempt. When a man cannot decide, others decide for him. When he cannot fight, others fight over him. When he cannot lead, he is dragged by the will of stronger men. This is the weight of weakness. It makes a man invisible while convincing him he still matters. The world does not bow to compassion, it bows to strength. And when a man shows weakness, the world learns it can ignore him. No one respects the voice that trembles. No one follows the hand that shakes. And no one fears a man who hides from pain. Weakness is not just the absence of strength, it is the presence of fragility, and fragility breaks under the slightest pressure. That is why weak men earn no respect, not from enemies, not from allies, not even from themselves. And if weakness deserves only contempt, then what is it that earns respect? Respect is not given freely. It is bought, and the only currency the world accepts is strength. Titles, wealth, or words mean nothing if a man has no power to enforce them. Without strength, promises are empty. Without strength, authority collapses the moment it is challenged. Strength is not inherited, it is forged. Fire, loss, and hardship create it. Weak men run from these trials, seeking comfort instead of challenge. Strong men walk through them, carrying the scars as proof that nothing can break them. It is in this furnace that real respect is born. A man who has endured hardship commands attention without speaking. His presence alone is a reminder that he has survived battles others could not. Weak men demand to be acknowledged. Strong men are acknowledged because no one dares to ignore them. This is the law of respect. It bends to strength and nothing else. Fear, loyalty, and reverence all spring from it. And without it, a man is dismissed, forgotten, or trampled beneath those who carry it. Strength is the language the world listens to. It is the signature carved into every empire, the shadow that weak men can never cast. And this is why the weak are despised, because where strength rules, weakness has no voice. But strength is not only about endurance, it is also about independence. Weak men cannot stand without leaning on others. They crave approval, they beg for guidance, and they cling to comfort as if it were air. Their happiness depends on the opinions of the crowd, and their courage exists only when someone stronger shields them. This dependence is a chain, and every link of it binds them tighter. A man who needs constant validation is a man who can be controlled. His decisions are not his own. His future belongs to whoever feeds his weakness. He is not a leader, not even a man in the truest sense, but a puppet. And puppets are never respected. They are used until the strings snap. Respect is reserved for those who need nothing. A man who can walk away from comfort, who can refuse applause, who can stand alone in silence. He cannot be owned. He cannot be bought, and he cannot be bent. Independence is the proof of strength. It is the mark that separates men who command respect from those who beg for it. Dependence creates slaves. Independence creates masters. This is why weak men, bound by their chains, are despised, and why strong men, free from need, rise above them. And nowhere does this truth reveal itself more clearly than in the safety of the crowd. Weak men feel safest when they disappear into the herd. They believe that numbers protect them, that laughter shared in groups makes them strong, and that belonging is the same as respect. But the crowd does not make men powerful, it makes them ordinary. Inside the crowd, a man loses his edge. He eats what they eat, he speaks how they speak, and he chases what they chase. His vision shrinks to match theirs, and his courage dissolves into their approval. In this cage, weakness hides itself by blending in, but the more a man blends in, the more invisible he becomes. The crowd rewards mediocrity, it celebrates safety, it keeps men small, comfortable, and replaceable. A weak man in the crowd feels accepted, but in truth, he has only surrendered his identity, and the man who surrenders himself for comfort is never respected, he is pitied. The few who step away from the herd become something different. They are no longer protected by numbers, but they are no longer caged by them either. They stand alone, and in that rare independence, they become feared. For nothing unsettles the crowd more than a man who no longer needs it. Weak men hide among the masses because they cannot face themselves. Strong men break away from the crowd because they know respect is not found in numbers. It is found in standing apart. And when a man steps away from the herd, the true test of respect begins. When a man stands alone, there is no crowd to cheer him, no hand to guide him, no applause to reassure him. Solitude strips him bare. It removes every distraction, every excuse, every comfort. And in that silence, the truth of who he is comes to the surface. Weak men cannot survive in solitude. The silence terrifies them. With no one to validate their worth, they collapse into fear. They rush back to the noise of the crowd, desperate to drown out the sound of their own weakness. Alone they wither. But strong men endure solitude. They rise before dawn without anyone pushing them. They sharpen their discipline when no one is watching. In silence they train their minds and harden their will. Solitude becomes the furnace where weakness burns away and strength is refined. Respect is never earned in comfort. It is earned in the lonely hours when no one is watching, when no one is clapping, when no one is there to offer support. The man who can master himself in solitude becomes someone others cannot ignore. His discipline becomes visible, his presence becomes undeniable. This is why the world respects the man who stands alone, not because he needed no one, but because he proved he could thrive without anyone. Weak men avoid this test. Strong men embrace it, and once they have endured it, they carry an authority that cannot be questioned. But solitude is only the beginning. Respect has a price, and that price must be paid in blood, betrayal, and sacrifice. Respect is not free. It demands payment, and the currency is pain. A man must endure loss, betrayal, and hardship if he wants to stand above others. Weak men run from these costs. They hide from suffering, sell their dignity for comfort, and cling to safety as if it will protect them. But safety never builds respect. Every scar tells a story. Every wound is proof that a man stood his ground when others fled. Weak men fear scars because they reveal struggle. Strong men embrace them because they reveal survival. Pain is not the enemy, it is the teacher. It hardens, it shapes, and it forges respect. Betrayal crushes the weak because they depend on loyalty. When trust is broken, they collapse. But strong men endure betrayal, using it as fuel to sharpen their judgment and strengthen their resolve. They learn to stand on their own foundation, not on the fragile support of others. The price of respect is solitude in the darkest nights, the weight of sacrifice, the fire of suffering. Weak men refuse to pay it and remain small. Strong men pay in full and rise untouchable. This is why the world gives no respect to the weak. They avoid the fire that forges greatness. They choose ease over endurance, and in doing so, they choose to be forgotten. But those who endure the cost earn more than respect in the moment. They carve something greater, a legacy that outlives them. Weak men leave no mark behind. Their lives fade quietly, their names forgotten, their stories erased by time. They are remembered, if at all, for their failures, their excuses, their dependence. And then even that memory disappears because the world does not carry the weight of weakness. But strong men carve their names into history. Their strength commands respect long after they are gone. Their choices echo, their victories inspire, and their presence becomes larger than life. Legacy is built only by those who refuse weakness. It is the shadow cast by strength, stretching far beyond a single lifetime. Weak men avoid sacrifice and die in silence. Strong men embrace sacrifice and are remembered in eternity. That is the brutal law of power. The weak vanish, the strong endure, and it is respect that separates the two. The world honors strength because strength builds, protects, and conquers. It remembers the man who stood alone, who paid the cost, who refused to bend. That man becomes a symbol, a legend, a figure who cannot be ignored. Weak men deserve no respect because they leave nothing worth remembering. Strong men earn respect because they create legacies that cannot be erased, and when history is written, it is only their names that remain. Weakness is contempt, strength is immortality, and respect belongs only to the strong.